Every man needs to have boundaries. The woman is not allowed to have male friends. You must stay at home and cook the food, wear a nice dress, etc. Now, this topic goes much deeper than just female and male dynamics. We're going to talk about boundaries today and why every man needs to have them. Now, boundaries are funny. Boundaries are just another word for rules. It's just that the word boundaries is more socially accepted than the word rules, right? But if you really think about it, they're just rules. You don't break the rules. And we're gonna get into like why you should have boundaries, why women actually respect you more when you have boundaries, why men respect you more if you have boundaries. Again, it's just a synonym for the word rules, right? Why do humans in general function better when they have boundaries? Why do they seem to push the envelope constantly? We're gonna get into all that. It's a deeper topic than you might think, and this actually will help you with women, men, in your professional careers. It's also it'll also help you with your frame a little bit as well, and you'll see what I mean when it comes to women as well. Guys, don't forget, scroll down. Hit the subscribe button right now. Pause the video. Scroll down like, I think it's like 3 inches or something like that. Or if you're on a TV, scroll with your remote. Hit that subscribe button. Let's grow the channel together. Get this information out to more people. Okay. Boundaries. All right. Now first we'll get into the manosphere type of boundary, and then we'll get into the actual productive type of boundaries, how to deploy them and how to execute on them. There's a right way and a wrong way to do this in relationships, okay? This is tricky, man. Boundaries are probably one of the ones that might need like 3 or 4 videos on them just to actually teach people how to deploy them properly so that they actually build attraction with the opposite sex and they don't actually make them reject you or whatever, right? Now, boundaries and rules are they're a negotiating not a tactic. You negotiate boundaries as you get to know somebody, right? So on your first date, this is kind of like, okay, there was actually a clip of a couple of incel dudes on a first date. And I'm sure you see this shit everywhere on the internet where like these incel bros that don't have any experience with women, they place boundaries on women that they go on a first date with or that they're just texting casually. And it's just like the dumbest. Don't do that, man. Like boundaries are set when the other human has investment in you. That's what's going on, okay? If you go on a first date with a woman or you're just texting casually, they have no investment in you. So if you place a boundary upon them or a rule, remember, they're just rules. If you place rules upon them, what incentive do they have to follow them? 0. Right? It's not you want to go on a macro scale? This is why immigration doesn't work. When you mass immigrate a foreign population into your country, like Canada, and then you make them exempt from the rules, they also don't have any investment in your country. Therefore, they're going to break all the rules. and you're gonna have a bunch of chaos because there's no investment. They didn't pay to get into the country. They didn't have to work for it. Basically, Canada isn't making them invest before immigrating them here, causing utter chaos. I think you UK bros have the same thing. And you guys in France and shit, right? Humans, okay, we're gonna get back to the dating thing. Humans as a whole cannot function without rules and boundaries. This is key what I'm gonna say here, okay? And I don't know why that is, but like, women and men won't respect you unless you actually have boundaries and rules. Now, the boundaries and rules have to be like normal and reasonable. Do you know what I'm saying? So let's go back to the example of like, you're not allowed to have any male friends. We'll target that one specifically because that's like the biggest one. And that's a tough one, man. Okay. Man, not to derail the entire video, but I could do an entire video on just that topic because I've literally tested everything on that topic. On the whole, like, no friends with men kind of thing, right? Now, let's go back to boundaries and rules are just something you negotiate as you get to know somebody, right? So, from a female perspective, if you go on one date with a girl, you can't put any boundaries on her. She has no investment in you, right? We'll get into some other non-dating examples too. Second date, third date, you still don't really have any right to place boundaries on her. What you can do though is place boundaries on yourself. Let me explain. Like if she shows up late, right? Now, let's say you have, and on date number 1, this is a bit trickier. A lot of women will do this as a shit test to see how you react. And basically, if you put a boundary on her, she'll bounce because that means you're not chill, right? So let's say on the first date, she shows up. I guess it depends on how late she shows up. If it's 5, 10, 15 minutes, don't even say anything. Who cares, right? If she shows up 30 minutes late, you know what I've done in the past that has worked? Oh, yeah, I know this one girl. Okay, yeah. This was, man, I was so young back then, but even then it's so funny because when you're naturally good at this type of stuff, and you're younger, you kind of do it anyway, just out of self-respect. So anyway, I went on a date. This is like date number 2 with this smoke show, back in my 20s, smoke show, right? And she was like, she needed like 30 minutes to get ready. And for some reason, when I went to go pick her up at the designated time, she was not ready. She's like, I'll be out in a minute. And then like 15 minutes goes by, 20 minutes goes by, and she doesn't come out. And I'm like, what the hell is going on here? So anyway, back then, what I actually did was I just left. Cause like, so here's the overlying dynamic. And then what happened was, literally like 30 seconds after I left, she texted me to come back. So I think she was looking out the window or something. Like this bitch ended up being crazy. But she was like looking out the window to see when I would leave. Do you know what I'm saying? I didn't text her or anything. I just left. Because here's the underlying kind of boundary or rule about that, right? It was our first or second date, and I had no right to impose a rule or boundary on her. Do you know what I'm saying? Because she has no investment in me. But I can place a boundary on my own time, or a rule on my own time. So like, if a girl is like 30 minutes late or something like that, and she doesn't give you a warning or like, hey, there was a car accident on the highway. Like sometimes the excuses are legit, you know what I'm saying? Like sometimes they're fine. And then she's like, she just says nothing and is 30 minutes late. The problem is, if you sat there and waited for 30 minutes without saying anything, that means you're a beta. And she's not going to be attracted to you whatsoever. Because in her mind, she's like, damn, this guy doesn't value his time enough to actually sit here and wait 30 minutes for me. Because you shouldn't have any investment in her either. Because it's also a second date for her. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like, this chick's making me wait 30 minutes? I'm out of here. Like I'm gone, right? So anyway, boy, was that girl into me after that. Oh, dude, I'll tell you. Oh boy. Okay. So I accidentally made the right move. Not accidentally, but more like, I'm not waiting 30 minutes for this. What the hell are we, like, I was like, what are we doing here, right? And it was more of a, dude, here's like the ultimate frame for you. When it comes to like dating and boundaries and rules and all this type of stuff, you shouldn't take advice from other people when something doesn't feel natural to you, if that makes sense. So if there's like a red pill influencer online that are like, women can't have any boyfriends, you shouldn't go on a first date with a girl and be like, you're not allowed to have any male friends. It's like you've lost the common sense, right? So I'll get into the whole male friend thing after. So anyway, third date, fourth date. Okay, so now by this point, the girl is actually starting to like you a little bit, like actually starting to invest in getting to know you, all that type of stuff. You can only start placing rules and boundaries after you've slept with a woman. Let me repeat that. You may only have boundaries and rules after you have slept with a woman and she wants more from you. That's the only time. Anything before that is you having boundaries on yourself and your own worth. And that's a tricky thing to say because like, know your worth is like the dumbest. Bro, know your worth might be the dumbest sentence when it comes to men and women. What a stupid sentence, man. Your worth is exactly what the market dictates it to be. You don't get to decide your own worth. Know your worth. God, dude, I swear to God, man, it really feels like this whole dating red pill space is like a huge psyop against men. And all this advice that you hear literally just cock blocks betas. It's insane. It's insane. But anyway. So it's like, after so put it this way. On the first date, if she's 30 minutes late, you leave. You're like, fuck this shit. It's a boundary on yourself. After you've slept together, and this is like the 5th or 6th date, and she tries that shit again, now you can be like, hey, when we set a time together, and you cannot be salty about it, it has to be like a respectful boundary. Okay, there's 2 ways you can kind of bring up a boundary to another human. You can frame it as, you are my underling, and you follow the rules. Or you frame it as, hey, if you were in my shoes, this would suck. You always want to do that one. So it's like on the 5th or 6th date, you always want to do it from the second one, okay? 5th or 6th date, she tries to show up 30 minutes late again or some shit like that. Or let's say she was supposed to come over to your house and she's 30 minutes late. You're like, hey, I cooked the food, I timed the food to come out at the allotted time, and you were 30 minutes late. That kind of sucks. So like, if you were in my shoes, you would feel pretty shitty about that too. So going forward, I really need you to put in the effort to be on time when you say you're gonna be on time. If you're gonna be 30 minutes past the time, just tell me that ahead of time and it's fine, kind of thing, right? You just like, you're a reasonable, like the request that you made to the other human isn't unreasonable. It's quite normal. So this is the key when it comes to rules and boundaries, okay? The frame that you need to have when executing boundaries and rules is, why are you being weird? Like you're like, so this is you need to make the other person feel like a weirdo, whether it be man or woman. You need to make them feel weird for breaking a rule that you have. Because for the most part, it is fucking weird. So it's like, when I showed up to that girl's house and she didn't come out of her house for 30 minutes, that's weird. So even back then, when I wasn't like aware of this stuff, I'm like, I guess she's just not into me, or I guess she stood me up, or I don't know, I'm just gonna leave. Like, do you know what I'm saying? I guess like, I'm not gonna blow up her phone. I'm just never gonna talk to her again. Actually, this happened back in October, November. I was supposed to meet up with this one girl. And to be fair, she said she had a family emergency, and I'm actually not sure if that was true or not. But I just never talked to her ever again. And the reason why I chose not to talk to her again after that one was because she didn't try to reschedule, so I assumed she wasn't into me. Guess what happened a month later? Sometimes it just takes time with these chicks too, man. Sometimes, so if I'm supposed to meet up with a girl and she's like, I have a family emergency, I can't. I'm like, damn, hope everything is okay, see you another time. That's it. Never text her ever. Because I approached it from the perspective of, why are you being weird? The medical emergency is not weird, but getting cold feet and not standing me up, but giving me a heads up that you can't meet up the day of, I find that weird. So the boundary that I have on myself is I don't like to deal with weird shit. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's the key that you're trying to achieve when dealing with boundaries and rules. So it's like, now, okay, I'll tell you the story about this one girl. This was in my early 30s. Early 30s? Early 30s, yeah. This one girl, again, I didn't know much about this stuff. I was kind of a natural at it, right? This girl had, she was friends with a lot of her ex-boyfriends. And back then, I was like, I didn't tell her that I wasn't okay with it. I just said like, I don't feel like this is like a normal thing for me. Like I made it about me, right? She's like, I want a relationship with you. I'm like, I don't know if I can because you're friends with all your exes. It just feels weird to me, right? Now, what I unknowingly did, and here's the thing. You gotta kind of be self-aware about this stuff, right? What I unknowingly did was she was like, oh yeah, I'll cut them all off for you. That didn't work. Here's why. Because I had to suggest it, I accidentally suggested it. She didn't do it on her own. That's the key. And this is, again, this is a topic for a different video, but the difference between you placing a rule on somebody else or you placing a boundary on somebody else, we're talking about relationships here, and them. So if the girl is 30 minutes late, in her reality, that's normal. Do you know what I'm saying? So even if you're like, hey, you gotta show up on time, like, what is this? Even if she follows the boundary and the rule for a year or two, she will slowly start to slip back to being 30 minutes late again. And then you gotta remind her again. Then you gotta remind her again. And you're like, why are you doing this? This is one of the rules of being in this damn relationship was you not being 30 minutes late. And every like 6 months, she keeps slipping back to that nonsense because that's her default. So here's the thing. And if for you guys that know me in the tech space as well, our community is not any different at all. It's like I have a whole list of rules and all the rules are like, don't be a weird fuck. That's basically what it is. So whenever somebody tries to like be weird, I have to like put them in their place. It's like, bro, stop being weird. Stop that shit, right? And then they'll stop for like 6 months. Bam, 6 months, they're like, they do some weird ass shit again. I'm like, what are you doing? Stop, right? Because the reason why that's happening is because them not being a weird fuck is not their default. So it's good. So it's going to be constant work for you to constantly enforce these boundaries and rules on another human. That is basically what compatibility is, right? So like, now let me tell you, man, I do have an answer to this problem, but here's the thing. If that girl back then at that time, if she just got rid of all of her exes, like let's say if she was like, hey, I want a relationship with you, and I was like, yeah, I'm not really down because you're friends with all your exes. It kind of feels weird. If she was like, oh, I already cut them all off a month ago. Don't worry about it. It's over. I'd have been like, oh shit, oh damn. Because she did that on her own. I didn't have to tell her. It's important because it wasn't something that she feels like she lost in order to get you. So the more rules and boundaries that you place on the opposite sex as a negotiating tactic for their commitment, they're just good. It's gonna like bottle in and resent over time. So what ended up happening with that one was like 9 months later, she started texting her exes behind my back again. Not in like a sexual way, but just because she missed them as like friends. And I remember telling her this too. I'll never forget this shit. I'm like, why did you tell me that it was okay to cut them all off, suck me into a relationship, and then backpedal 9 months later? What the hell was the point? You just wasted 9 months of both of our time. It's like, I don't understand. And then what she said, I'll never forget this. She was like, I thought that you would change your mind eventually once you saw that it was okay and normal. So she tried to make her version of normal slowly poison drip into like my reality. Like, oh, it's normal that she texts, and I was like, that's not okay for me. And that's when we broke up, right? So you got to be careful with this because this girl, I mean, she didn't waste time, but she accidentally wasted 9 months of both of our time by following a boundary or a rule and then trying to renege on it like 6 months, 7 months later. Again, immigration, weird fucks, communities. When you're dealing with business partners and you have something written down in a contract, this is the boundary and the rule, they always try to, dude, humans are insufferable, brother. They always try to revert to their baseline. Now here's the thing. I've now entered this paradigm, and I'm 40 years old now, still dating. I've entered this paradigm now where I will never place a boundary on another human or a rule on another human accidentally or knowingly ever again. I don't care. I only have boundaries on myself and what I accept. And here's why this is a bit different, right? So, let's say I'm dating a girl because I know better now, right? I know that they're always gonna wanna revert to their baseline. So let's say I'm dating a girl now and she likes to hang out with her ex-boyfriends. That's fine, I don't give a shit. But then if she's like, hey, I want a relationship with you, I don't even engage that. I don't think it's gonna work out between us. And then I don't explain myself. I don't try to like shadow boundary or whatever. Because I already know what's gonna happen. They're always gonna revert to baseline, man. I've dealt with too many humans that always try to revert to baseline. Now, if it's like a 30 minutes, you have to kind of, if the girl is like 80% of what you want, so this girl that I'm with now, put it this way, this I actually don't know how to solve this one, but like the girl that I'm with now, boy is she bad with money. Fuck me, right? She's bad with money. And I like don't know what to do about it. Because she's like, she has everything else and she's great in every single other way, but she's just bad with money. I'm like, can you just stop buying dumb shit, right? It's not, but here's the thing. It's not, my frame is, well, it's not my money, so I don't give a shit. And then we're at this, right now we're at this like impasse together where she's like, I want more. But then I'm also like, if I become more with this woman, I'm gonna have to constantly remind her of her spending habits for the rest of my life. Every 6 months, she's gonna revert. Like every 6 months, there's gonna be a stupid purse on the table. So then, it comes down to, am I willing to remind this other human of the boundaries and rules that I've set upon them every 6 months for the rest of our lives? And here is the problem. When you get married to them or commit to them, you have lost all the leverage to put rules on that other human as a man towards a woman. When you get married, and you're like, hey, you can't be 30 minutes late anymore. Or hey, you can't text your ex-boyfriends anymore. She can just say, what are you gonna do about it? Now, there's no repercussion. A boundary and a rule has to have a repercussion in order for it to work. The other human needs to have a loss aversion. So that's why every woman tries to get marriage with no prenup. Because a marriage with no prenup secures, there's no loss aversion on their end anymore. It's like, oh, I'm gonna be 30 minutes late. I'm gonna text all my exes. I'm gonna spend all of our money, and there's nothing you can do about it. Nothing. So that's why, different video, but that's why marriage is not a good idea, because you need to have the ability to walk away for a woman to fall in line with you, right? But anyway, this whole money thing, in my head, I'm like, you know, I could probably deal with her money habits because she has everything else. Like, I don't have any other boundaries placed upon her. Do you know what I'm saying? She just sucks with money. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody's perfect, right? So it's like, good enough kind of thing, right? It's like, but if you have like 10 or 20 boundaries, and now all of a sudden they're on a 6-month loop of trying to push the envelope back, like you might get 1 or 2 and stay sane forever. Other than that, man. So even right now, even though I'm in the dating phase, I'm like, you do whatever you want with your money. I don't give a shit. I'm gonna save my money. She doesn't even have an emergency fund. Like, she doesn't, like if shit goes, so basically I've been telling her about this emergency fund shit for like 3 months, 4 months. She has made no progress on it. I'm like, if shit goes down, I'm not gonna rescue you. I'm not gonna save you. If you go homeless tomorrow, I'm not gonna save you because that's a boundary I have on myself. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm not like, so you could be like, I need you to save $500 every paycheck. That's a lot, but $500 a paycheck. And if you don't, I'm gonna leave. Now, that sounds so stupid, doesn't it? It doesn't, like, even though that's probably what's best for her, you can't do that. Because that's weird as fuck. Do you know what I'm saying? All you can be like, don't involve me in your bad spending habits. You just put your arms up. You take care of yourself, bro. And let me tell you, when you approach frame like this, it's like, your problem is not my problem. Don't make your problem my problem. I like to text my ex-boyfriends. Not my problem. Well, I'm not going to commit to you. I'll bang you. We can have fun together. Friends with benefits. On no planet am I dating that shit. Do you know what I'm saying? Bad money habits. 30 minutes late. If she disrespects you in public, go through the red flags list, right? It's like, oh shit, okay, well. So anyway, rules and boundaries, you need to have them, but you need to have them for yourself. And you cannot really place them on other people. You can, but it's always gonna come back every few months in perpetuity. So just like, at the end of the day, accept which boundaries you're okay letting go. And if you do have to enforce one, make sure you just be ready, man. You're gonna be on, that shit is gonna come back to haunt you forever. Just make sure you're okay with the haunting. If she's got everything else, that's good stuff, right? Anyway, guys, hopefully this video helped. It was a long one. We'll have to do another episode on this. Scroll down, subscribe. 2 inches, it's as big as your small carrot stick. Just take your carrot stick, point it at the screen, scroll down, and hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.